Hey everybody, Doug here from. Oop, there it goes. Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and today I am doing another hobby hangout. You see, I have exactly one more box of pigs that I need to build. So last time I streamed, we were building and painting up my Savage Boar Boys. I need exactly 10 more to get the list that I want to take to Vault Wars up in May. And so with this done, so this is the last of the pigs that I need. Beyond this, I need a a rogue idol, as well as a couple of savage bosses. But I think I might be able to make the savage bosses from some of the bits in here and some other kits that I have. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Just building some models, hanging out, and I would love for you to hang out with me. Let's get some music playing here, just so it's not quite so boring. More boars. Hey, Dead and Thriving, Captain Rel, how are we doing, y'all? And I'm going to throw some tunage on. Get that over there. And I think we are just about good to go. Okay, we're going to go to the downward cam. Austin Davidson, hey buddy, how you doing? And if the music's too loud, please just let me know. I don't think it should be, but hey, you never know. And so begins the build. All right. First of all, doing good, brother. How are you? I am well. It seems like it was a long weekend for most of the planet. Oh my goodness. Good gravy. Just didn't want to come out of the box there. And I've built my fair share of these boys. Let me get all these other bases from a other super secret project out of the way. You didn't see those. Those are proprietary. Oh man. So we'll throw our bases over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Aha, 5. Okay. Just making sure I had all that. We're gonna build pigs first, and then riders, because I like the way we did that last time. Pigs, pigs, pigs. Rider. Okay. I'm doing quite well. So this weekend, instead of going to Adepticon, I went to of all places where you can expect to find me, a Rockin' Romance convention for romance authors over in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I had myself a wonderful time. Travel, I will admit, was rough. 100% my fault for booking cheap travel. But I have since learned my lesson. I am contrite. It was just, man, I don't know if, it was windy over there. I don't know. It was just brutal. A lot of air sickness and feeling gross and a lot of nerves and anxiety. But it was really cool. My wife was so sweet. She loved seeing fans come up and chat with her, and it just made her day. So therefore it made my day. Yeah, let's see. Oh, why'd the music stop? Why did you do that thing? Hold on. I have to reload the channel here. The music channel, rather. Haven't been in a while, on a break from the hobby because life, but I'm glad to know you're still doing the thing, Doug. Oh, I'm trying, Brent. Come back whenever you are ready. Breaks are important. Okay, there we go. Turn that down just a smidge. Let me ask, if you guys are hobbying, what are you guys working on? I'm curious. But yes, even when I was traveling, I still managed to find my kind of nerds, because at the hotel we were staying at, there was a historical wargaming thing going on. Not a convention per se, but an event nonetheless, where you're B, right? Yep. There was one huge table with like I think 5 or 6 players on it that was doing a wargaming reenactment of the Battle of Gettysburg, and then there was another 2 long tables that were doing like just kind of general Napoleonics. It was just really cool to see. I had never seen their system before. They don't use dice. It's all calculated on a computer, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." It's just every once in a while cool to see how other types of games and communities exist. CNC. It's D&D. Bugs. Hey, Spetia. So, because I don't really have anything planned for this stream, has anybody got a topic they want to tackle? Tips are appreciated, but at this point, I'm just happy to have something to talk about. Oh, here we go. It's this guy. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, got that. For me, I gotta say, I am so excited for more tournament prep. My world, you know, whenever you travel, for me anyway, my worldview kind of like shrinks a little bit. I get more in the moment than being able to think stuff in the future, just because travel tends to stress me out. So it's nice that now that all that's over with, to be like, oh yes, I can be excited about Vault Wars again and kind of start planning for that. So it's very, very ready to be back at the desk. Spezia, oh, thank you so much. I'd be interested on your thoughts on the Incarnates. Okay. Let me think about this. I have rules regarding what I can share. And thank you so much, Spezia. That does mean the world to me. Why not use a dice roller on your phone? No. Okay, I'll put a pin in that, Brent. I'll circle back. These guys hate dice. Like, it's not a matter of the physical dice. It is they hate dice. And I've never experienced this level of hate before. But Spezia, because you threw them in the tip jar, we'll go to you first. Thoughts on the Incarnates? From a lore perspective, which is pretty much what I'll stick to, I think that they are a really cool idea. Something I wanted, and I talked about it as far back as when Alariel first came into the picture, like way back in the Realmgate Wars, is this idea of like the realms having their own self. This idea that like they are characters just as much as any warrior or faction or whatever. And I always thought that was a really cool idea. Hold on, this song is very intense for being in the calm playlist. Good lord. They are, the way that they're described is kind of interesting on the community site, is part magic, part monster. And I don't know if that's going to be a Gur specific thing. But the concept essentially is just costs some points to put into your list and has to be tied to a hero. And I like the idea of it in terms of there are times when the realms themselves would want to see the outcome of a certain battle go to fruition. But what I'm curious about is, like, is there ever an occasion, like, why would the Realm of Beasts work alongside Chaos? I don't have a good answer for you. You know, because just inherently Realm of Chaos is corrupting everything, and I'm sure people are going to make some sick conversions with their incarnates and stuff, but because that's just the way of Chaos players, right? Just convert the ever-loving heck out of everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm being very careful with my words. One of the things that I find very interesting about the Incarnates is that it seems like instead of when AOS launched, where they wanted to give us this very like high fantasy, AOS initially started in the realm of fire, the realm of life, the realm of metal. They've definitely stopped that kind of track and have been like, we're going to pick one place and really focus on it. And obviously right now we're really focusing on Ghur. And I would say we're focusing on it in a way that is very different from, say, Shyish in the Soul Wars. Because in Shyish, all it meant is that all the stories took place in the realm of death. That was basically it. We had some supplements that came out that had specific rules for locations, but that was about it. But when we talk about the Incarnates and like if we're taking this entire, I don't know, year or however long they do to focus on Ghur, like having a model that represents the spirit of Ghur is a cool concept. And they're only signing themselves up for what, 8 of them, 9 of them, depending on how many you count as having incarnates rather. I don't know. So as I was falling asleep last night, I was reading some material that shan't be mentioned, and I was thinking to myself, is there going to, so like obviously you have the mortal realms, all of them, right? Whole I don't know, model of the universe or whatever. And then I was like, are they going to have an incarnate of the realm of chaos? And then my brain was like, oh man, what if the 4 chaos gods are the incarnates of chaos? That's a neat idea. What a cool angle for them to kind of take, just to kind of do something different other than, hey, we're the chaos gods and we're here. We happen to be in every Games Workshop intellectual property. Bye. Like, no reason, no explanation. It's just, that would be cool if they were incarnates of the realm of chaos. Viridian Forge, my boy, I saw your email, friend. Please don't feel like you have to update me all the time. I don't want to bother you. But for those of you who don't know, I'm getting help with building up a custom, what's it called? Rogue Idol. Rogue Idol. I don't know why it's so hard for me to remember that. So yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. I will say I'm much more excited about them, about the Incarnates, than I am excited about Endless Spells. Like, people were like, oh man, where are my Nurgle Endless Spells or whatever when the new book came out. And honestly, I'm just kind of done with them. Like, as a concept, I think that they were never my fave. They're cool models, really great for conversions and stuff. But when you start talking about like every faction has to be able to have access to something, like I feel like that's where Games Workshop falls short, because they just are not committed when they say like a design idea, like, hey, we're gonna make endless spells, but not every faction's gonna get them. Like, well, okay, cool. Like, it just kind of knocks some of the excitement out of the air. Whereas with this, they're only committing to how many, spirits or whatever, incarnates. That's what I'm trying to say. Not many relative to endless spells per faction per battle tome. So I'm much more confident in their ability to deliver because it is much more limited in scope. Does that make sense? Aren't the greater demons the incarnates of the chaos god? Yeah, I mean, their definition of the word incarnate is so broad that kind of, I mean, they're a piece of them. They're a piece that is also a full representation. So I guess technically, much like the incarnate of Ghur is the same thing. It represents the spirit of the realms and can react to it as the realm would react, but it is not the sum totality of it. That's how I kind of work it in my mind. How about that? Turtle War Shrine update. Going to be the turtle as the base. The palanquin that comes with the Kit Bash chopped up chariot. Oh, with a chopped up chariot. Okay, cool. Using Slaves to Darkness Endless Spells box for those bits. Nice. That's terrific. there's nothing more Warhammer than managing to make a $60 model cost $240 with all the conversion bits and stuff like that. And that's not me making fun of you. I love it. I think it's the best. How do I squeeze this budget together? I'm brainstorming a Kragnos proxy, thinking of a giant stone boar. Ah! I'm not trying to make this a shameless self-promotion. Yes, so Dead and Thriving, that's actually what we're working on together. The Bone Splitters revere the boar, and also in their lore, their spell lore section, they have a thing called the Curse of the Wereboar. And so I wanted a rogue idol that really represented that kind of side of things, like a Bone Splitter specific type one. And so my buddy VForge here hooking me up, working out some design and stuff. But yeah. Omar, do you will like a Karl Franz miniature? Can you help me out with that question? Are you asking if I would like to see one, or are you asking because like one used to exist, so I'm not quite sure what you mean. But if you could just kind of re-ask that question, I would appreciate it, just because I want to answer it correctly. All right, let's get some glue. Get to Hoffen. Okay. Customary reminder that boars are the best, and I like them quite a bit. I have been devouring Bone Splitter content. There's not a ton of it online, obviously. It's not a very popular faction. But yeah. Let me ask this. Did any of you who are in the chat right now, any of you go to Adepticon? And did you have a good time? I saw a lot of stuff being played. I know Conquest from Parabellum was there in full bloom. Not everyone was as stoked as me about the reveal show from GW, but it is what it is. I'm a simple man. I see a Warhammer Age of Sigmar logo and I'm good. Austin, sorry. If you will have a version of... Austin, thank you so much, buddy, for throwing something in the tip jar. Thanks for the videos, Doug. My wife and I watched them to learn about our factions. She plays Nighthaunt and I play Stormcast. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you. Well, I hope that you enjoy those. I'm excited to jump back into Nighthaunt whenever they get a battle tome. I have not received any word on when that is, but I noticed that with what box? They did a 40K box recently. That, like, they put the box out there, and then people were like, "Cool, when can I order the the codex or whatever?" Because of course it has to be a different word to be 40K. And there was just like radio silence. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Thought an AOS we had all just accepted. Yeah, so there's no, technically speaking, Karl Franz doesn't exist in AOS. But there's lots of rumors that the Celestant Prime is Karl Franz. Which, now that it just occurred to me, would make him KFCP, Karl Franz Celestant Prime. Let's see. Austin, let me ask you this. What kind of Stormhost do you like to play for your Stormcast? I would love to answer that for you. And also, anytime anyone throws something in the tip jar, they get to ask a question, and that'll kind of be our topic for a bit. So, Austin, do you have any questions for me? Could be just about anything. As long as it's not like, what's that weird rash on your undercarriage? That kind of thing, you know. Gotta leave some mystery. Is there something... You ever just... This only happens to me with some Games Workshop kits where they have like the pegs that go inside, you know, the holes, kind of like these guys have the slotted, the male and female ends, where it's just like, these just do not go together. Gelto, I'm painting Van Denst minis, and I was wondering, do you think they, and for example Kritza, might be the Cursed City expansions we will see at the end of this year? I have no idea. Because with Cursed City, when they initially previewed the whole series of games, it made it seem like it was going to be like Blackstone Fortress, where they were going to have these little mini expansions, and yes, at that point I would have told you that'll be an expansion for it. And then they nuked the game, and then they're bringing it back, so it's like I don't know what they're doing. They're all over the place. I would love to see it though. It's one of those things, it's like sometimes, yeah, as positive as I am, every once in a while I do have to just kind of like shrug my shoulders and be like, I don't know what Games Workshop is thinking. And I don't claim to read the tea leaves like some others do. So that's why I never get upset at preview things, just because to me it's like half the time I'm not convinced that they know what they want to do. And so I don't worry about it. If I'm disappointed, I'm like, I'm sure there's a myriad of employees who are very disappointed at X. Okay, I got piggy leg. And we're just cutting out some. So we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. If there are pegs in models, I usually clip them off, especially if there's enough surface area. Yeah, I certainly do when it comes to the mono build ones that they make. I definitely do that. But sometimes I try to maintain. The only model that they've made that I didn't have to do any kind of cutting on the pegs lately has been the Chariot, the new Stormcast Chariot that they made. That thing is a thing of beauty. Agreed, Spezia. Yeah, most of the Underworld's warbands are, well, all of them are push fit, but some of those are just unfun to deal with, for lack of a better word. Have you seen the new dual box pre-order coming this weekend? Apart from the great value, what are your thoughts on the crossbow Nighthaunt models? If you're talking about the models, one thing I can point out to you, and this is important to me, and I know some other model builders, but the contact points, like the actual part of the ghosty bit that goes down and touches the base, that is significantly thicker, I found, than some of the other Nighthaunt models that exist. And that made me happy, just because they're less prone to breaking. I don't have a huge opinion on them as far as like competitive stuff goes. Like, that's not really my jam. but I know some people are saying they're rather lackluster. For me, I tend to think that we need the whole book for full context. You know, some units just don't look good on paper until you see spells that buff them and command abilities and allegiance abilities and sub factions and all that. So that's the best I can offer to you. Unrelated note, I might have a relevant video for you going up Saturday morning. Arnold Horde mode Sentinels, good idea, except to fight against them. But the models are stellar, I will say that. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Brent. So, what did you learn from the historical guys that hate dice? Yes. Okay, so let me preface. These gentlemen were all, for the most part, the overwhelming majority were 60 years old plus. And so this guy comes up to me because he saw I was kind of watching. I was trying to be off to the side, not interrupt what they were doing, of course, trying to be respectful. And he starts, answering some questions about it. And I said, I noticed there's no dice. And he goes, well, we hate dice here. And which is just a strange sentiment. I've never heard anyone say I hate dice. That's just... okay. But there he goes. He laid it down. He hates dice so much. And where's the... oh, here it is. I was missing a pig leg. So here's how the game functions. It's called Carnage and Glory. Think of it this way, as like Age of Sigmar, but the only phases that you and I get to act in are the hero phase, movement phase, and like bravery, battle shock phase. The way it works is that each unit in their games has like a number. So like, let's say it's 526 is your cannon squad, and 742 is the target. You guys are going to move as normal. They have like ways of determining movement values. It's all in kind of like roughly real world measurements, like 75 paces, 100 paces kind of a thing. And then when it comes to time to shoot and do combat, there's a third person who sort of acts like a DM. And you holler out, hey, my unit 526 is going to shoot at his unit 741 or whatever. And then the DM guy will type that into a computer, and the computer calculates a myriad of things, including fatigue, how much health they have, how accurate their particular historical type of weapon was, how much ammunition they have, the skill of the shooters, all these kinds of stuff. And then basically the DM will be like, hey, from that result, that barrage resulted in 14 casualties, and so on and so on. And so I'm standing there, he's explaining this to me, and I'm like, so... first of all, a lot of thoughts come into my brain. One, all due respect, everyone here is much, much older than me. This is the generation of people that I would imagine thinks that fax machines are magic and uses the phrase electronic mail unironically. So I was a bit taken back that they were so savvy when it came to very complex computer systems. Because, like, they showed me the inputs that the DM guys are kind of using. I was like, oh, no. It's not good when Craigslist looks light years ahead of you technologically. But... I thought it was a cool concept. It would just needed probably a benefactor to come in and spruce it up with some, user interface stuff. But the other thing, And I asked him, I was like, well, so you don't like dice, but this thing is a calculator for you. Like, it is randomizing the effects of all those things. He's like, yeah. So we can really just focus on movement, and that's kind of what generalship is really supposed to be. You put your troops in place and you trust them to do the job. And I was like, right, but dice are just one other way of doing the same thing. Like, there are games kind of like chess where there's not attacks to hit and to wound and damage percentiles and all these kinds of things. A pawn can take a king just like any other unit on a chessboard, but for some reason it's in these guys' minds that, like, dice bad, computer that randomizes number good, and you're like, okay. And then all of my concerns melted out of my ears because they let me shoot a cannon. And I gotta say, pretty fun. I don't know. It was just an interesting thing. You walked into OG Tech Fathers. It was just a very interesting thing to walk in on. I mean, and I super respect it. Obviously, it's just as valid of a way to do games as any other. I liked the kind of collaboration that it was between, there's two forces that were fighting, and then this third party, the DM, who kind of regulates things. And I like it, as far as, like, especially when you're talking historical stuff. But at the same time, I'm watching these games, and, like, what's missing is that element of excitement that comes when you roll hot. When you roll hot and you're just like, that thing that shouldn't have happened did. The Garrote stabbed Archaon in the eyeball socket or something. All those kinds of deals where it's like, there was no enthusiasm. It's just a whole bunch of guys with very thick suspenders going, That's it. And I know that they were having a blast, and that's why I don't want to like yuck it too much, just because, I mean, you could just tell these guys are having the time of their lives, and I'm so happy for them that this is a very niche community that they can do that. It seemed on a spectrum of, like, recreation to game, it leaned really heavy into the recreation side, not so much the game. Let's see. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Hoping the coach becomes a hero. If so, I'm immediately buying bits for my Barrow King Chariot. Ooh, that'd be interesting if it became a hero. I would like that. That'd be cool. Giving it artifacts and stuff like that. I mean, I would even settle for having an equivalent of mount traits, right? Call them, I don't know, procession arrangements or something like that. Something that sounds Night Haunty. The third crit 20 in D&D in a row where your halfling headbutts a bone demon into a new dimension. Exactly, yes. Hey, Doug, just got here. How's it going? It's going really well. Talking about my weekend up in Gettysburg. That sounds really fun, to be honest. Have you shared that in a video? Wargaming needs to expand their horizons. I have not. We actually just got back. Oh my god, the day before yesterday. And yesterday was a blur, just trying to get caught up with life and stuff. But maybe I will. I'd say overall, I mean, like, everyone was super friendly. It was just that one thing that just made me laugh of, like, we hate dice. I was like, oh, okay. That seems oddly aggressive for a thing that's never done anything to you. It's dice. It can't hurt you. I got some stares, and they're like, so, you do any kind of war games? Like, oh yeah, I play Warhammer. And just a couple guys just, like, looked up and just kind of stared at me for a while, and then looked away. Like, not that they knew me, they were just like, you don't say the W word here. James Workshop has no power here. But yes, it was super fun. And when they let me shoot the cannon, I was just like, oh yes, these are my people. They understand how to get a gamer roped in. Caused 14 casualties to the Confederate Army with a battery firing at half power to limit fatigue. See, I sound like a regular historical wargamer. But I'll be honest, because like I was standing there, because if you saw one of my more recent videos, I got into the game Blood and Plunder by Firelock Games, and so I was comparing it to that, because obviously that one does use dice. It uses D10s, and not a lot of them. But I'm standing there comparing the two, and I'm like, honestly, in terms of like, games that you would one-off play with a buddy, I feel like Blood and Plunder was kind of a stronger choice, but Dead and Thriving. Hey! Did you finish the new Kragnos book? I did not. I am not the biggest fan of their person they got for the audiobook, like to read it. So I'm kind of struggling to get through it. I'm considering just buying it again, like on Kindle or something like that, just to be able to read it rather than listen. I don't know why. Some voices... It's because I find that male voice actors have a harder time doing a range of voices than female ones, and that's just the ones that I've listened to through GW. The female actress they had who did the audio for Neve Black Talon First Mark is like one of my all-time favorites. Like a standout of like, this lady's got skill. This guy, I'm like, everything has to sound so over the top and epic that it's like, no, these characters are just sitting around a campfire. Ease up, dude. His voice doesn't jive with me either. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. And it's real hard because once a voice gets... If a voice doesn't match with you when it comes to an audiobook, it just becomes annoying. And you just kind of start making fun of it in your head. And it's like, I made it! Robert, you sure did. Glad to have you. Just trying on different pig heads to find a combo that I like. Sometimes I don't feel like all of these were made equally, shall we say. Okay, that's our one. Sorry about that. I had to just try and figure this out. Thank you so much, though, Dead and Thriving. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I like the premise though, because they kind of started it as, I mean, the opening scene, and this is no spoiler because it's not anything to do with the main plot of the book, but the opening scene of them fighting a bunch of ogres was really, really cool. I did appreciate it. It just doesn't look right. That jaw is just not sitting on there right. Let's see. Does this one work? I still need to get new clippers after I annihilated mine from trying to pin my first model. I went to my local hobby store to go buy some, and they wanted like $30 for a set. I was like, no, no, no. Listen to the audio. Wait. The Homie Kenobi. I love it, by the way. What's up? Are these Maniacs or the standard Savage Boar Boys? These are going to be standard boys. I have 2 units of 5 Maniacs. I do like them, but I don't see them as a unit that I would want 10 of, just because they only have the option for a 1-inch ranged weapon in melee. So I'm excited for these guys. I will say they did way better than I had anticipated when I played with them last. I swear, some of these mouths don't seem like they fit on any of these heads. But yes, they are going to be the basic boar boys, and it's going to be a unit of 10, so I only need to build 1 standard bearer and musician. Give me 1 sec here. I'll get back to the chat. Let me just... I have another one that doesn't seem like any of the mouth bits I have really work. Perfecto. Okay, finally got them. Let's close this up so I'm not just sitting here huffing glue all day. We gotta clip some ears out for these piggies. They are not on here though. They're gonna be on the other sprues. They're the exact same kit as the fantasy. Yep. Didn't change at all. Smata84. Hey Doug, report from using bone splitters at Adepticon. Went 3 and 2 with Craggy and the boys. That's so awesome. So Smata, I would love your input as a bone splitters player. I can't use Kragnos because the event I'm going to is called Vault Wars, and it's in May. It's in Springfield, Missouri. And I'm very excited about it. And I mean, I can use Kragnos if I want to. However, the trophy that I am hunting for is called the Underdog Trophy. Okay, the rules are you have to win at least 2 games with what they call an underdog faction, which Bone Splitters are thoroughly on that list. And the rules are you're not eligible for that particular award if you have a deity character in your army. So yes, even though it would be a Bone Splitters army, I need to not bring Craggy. People call him Craggy. I like Special K more. As an opinion. But yeah, so I just can't bring him specifically because I'm looking for that award. So it's nothing to do with the event. And when I was told that, I was a little bit disappointed for about half a second. And I was like, it's probably Right, it's the underdog award. It's not the crutch award, so that makes sense. Oh, a little bit of a plastic stub there. But that's awesome. How would you, or I guess I should start with the question, would you ever run Bone Splitters without Craggy? If so, how? But yes, so you know, and again, it's just to be in spirit with that concept of that particular award. Nothing to do with the event overall. And I could bring Craggy and just not get that award and go for something else, maybe best in faction or something, but that's not likely to happen. So instead I'm going to focus on a Icebone list that focuses on Boar Cavalry to just really focus on board control and just kind of, quite frankly, just grind my opponent out. If you've ever seen the, if you type in Bone Splitters Tactics, there's an article by a user named Shirt Ripper. I don't know anything about him, so understand that. But yeah, he had this great Icebone list that just looked like a ton of fun. It's all kinds of stuff. Hey Doug, how many pigs am I running in my list? First of all, hey Oscar, you're a legend. Let's see, I've got 2 units of 5 Maniacs and 2 units of 5 Boar Boys, 1 unit of 10 Boar Boys. So 10, 20, 30 overall, it looks like. And then one of the shamans is the shaman riding a boar. So I guess in terms of total pig power, we're looking at about 31, I think. I'm excited. I got a chance to run some pigs, the week before last against my buddy Robbie and had a wonderful time. I liked them. They performed at or near expectation. So yeah, all piggies all day. It's going to be fun. First turn charge is real nice. Plus, I'll be honest, is it Smata? 3 and 2 is my preferred. That's exactly where I want to come in. That's my ideal 5-game tournament stat. And if it's a one-day event, it's always I want to go 2 and 1. I don't know, just middle of the pack. I did better than I didn't. I want to play with my 50 dire wolves. Man, first of all, yes, absolutely. Also, I play a lot of Soul Blight dire wolves here lately. I got 2 friends that are very much into Soul Blight. One of them runs Wolf of the Wolf Pack, you know, whatever, which is all wolves all the time. And then the other one, Robbie, is Castelai. I always forget how to pronounce that. But yes, he has some fantastic looking wolf models as well. And, you know, you and I, we'll play a great game. I'm sure we'll have lots of laughs, lots of drinks. And nothing will die because the Bone Splitters can't kill anything. And wolves aren't really known for it either. Pillow fight. Okay, so the homie Kenobi. Last time I played against a Mega Gargant in Big K list, I had Brute Squad totally wiped out in one combat phase from just his mace. Yep. Yep. That was my experience with Kragnos. I used my Galotkin as a proxy just until I had the actual Kragnos model, which I'm glad I did because it was during that game that I found out I can't actually take Kragnos and get the award that I want. So it's like, oh god, thank God I didn't buy him. But yeah, it was one of those interesting things where it's like he just eviscerated a unit of Graveguard. I was like, oh snap, this is like way good. I wasn't used to having that kind of power. It was like hopping into a car, a rental car, and you're like, oh man, I'm not used to powered seats, powered windows, all of the cylinders in the engine working. It actually brakes when you touch the brake. I don't know when they started doing that in these modern cars. It's just like has way more power than you're emotionally ready for. Oh man. One of the things I don't care for is the fact that some heads are clearly meant to match some bodies. And they do a good job with the bodies themselves of being like, this is part A and part B. They do not do anywhere near as good of a job of broadcasting what head format goes with which body. I saw a TTS game where the Bone Splitter blowers were killing Fire Slayers. Yeah, it can happen. It can everything with the Bone Splitters, it's just about the charge. If they can get the charge, and ideally first turn, it seems to be. I mean, that's from my limited experience. Because I was playing my local friend Rob, and I just got on the objectives. Like that pre-game move, it's a taller ask than most. And be like, I need you to try and delete these, 40 wounds. If it's a 20-man Savage Orc squad, it's 40 wounds. With a 6-up ward save it's not dependent on any hero being nearby. They just get it. And once per game, it can go to a 4-up. Like, that's a tough ask for a lot of different factions. Now, if you can do it, it's not a problem, I mean, like anything else with list design, and when you build lists that ask certain questions of your opponent, it's like, can you deal with this? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, I lose. If the answer is no, you lose, but it's going to take us an hour to get there, so buckle up. Smatta, he was 100% a crutch for the faction. 5 boars equals the best chaff in the game. 4 Stabbas can wreck. I try an idle and some profits. Mine stared 10 Hearthguard, Manfred, and 6 pigs, and himself. Nice. If you know what we're talking about, the prophet has a way of, like, he basically has laser beam eyes, where he can he gives a feel bad stare at one enemy unit. He can do it once per game, and he can just keep doing mortal wounds onto them, pretty much what seems like to infinity. I've got my Cruel Boys, and I wish they had a good Cav option. I get why they don't, because their range support is obviously very good, but I'd love to see some lesser Nash. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. They really don't have any kind of mount beast, do they? I don't know why I didn't consider that. Sort of fits. Not really. Okay. Lots of hero mounts, but no cav. Interesting. Wonder why. Like, I mean, from like a back end people designing the faction range. I wonder why they decided no cavalry option. I mean, not for them specifically, but they do get full access. Yeah, I mean, there's ways that they can put pigs of varying variety, of different varieties on the table, of course, yeah. And that's, I mean, to me, that's always been a cool thing about the Orc War Clans ever since they just combined Ironjaws and Bone Splitters is just the idea of this big wall is just really a cool idea. Because it allows them to have factions individually be somewhat smaller. Bone Splitters is about 6 kits. And most of the Marmy comes from 2. The Boar kit, the Boar Riders kit you see here, and then the infantry one. But yeah. It would be cool to see like swampy land alligators with freakish legs. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Make like a spider crocodile. Let's just combine everyone's least favorite animals. That seems like a Cruel Boys thing to do. I also like the idea of terror bird riders. See, you put gut rippers on the birds. I would put the little grot guys, throat slittas, whatever they're called, the little grots. Kind of like a destruction version of pterodons. Or no, maybe not pterodons. What am I thinking of? Yeah, pterodons. Isn't that the one with the little skink riding it? Hobgrot slittas. Yeah, there we go. 5-man unit of Trog riders. Yeah, that'd be cool if they were like riding the what are the smaller versions of Trogs, like the swamp and oh yeah. Cool. I think I like the idea of 3 model units that are just like they're there to serve a single purpose. So like you think like Gore Gruntas, the Pterodons, those kinds of things. Even the Praetors from Stormcast, like the bodyguard unit. I don't know. Who would be crueler than combining the greatest fears of many and having them surround Congrats on Swampy Bats. I like that. C.S. Franklin, that's awesome. Bigger. Okay. But yes, I am very, very excited for Vault Wars. I'm excited for Holy Havoc. I'm going to look up today and see what's up with is it Rend 4? And there was some other gaming thing I was going to check out. Midwest Meltdown? Is that one that people go to? What about the Necromunda Crickets converted to carry Cruel Boys? Robert, I love it. That's a great idea. I'm so interested to see the sprues for those Necromunda kits because I'm so curious as about what they can be used for, like in terms of other, models that don't exist yet. Wonder if you could put a grot from Ripas on the new beer boar. I would imagine the beer boars are kind of small, but I don't know. We haven't seen a ton of info on them. Hopefully they're coming out soon, though. What's poppin', 2+ gang? Hey, we're just chilling, building some pigs. Living, laughing, loving. Same triple L, different day. I wonder if you could put a oh yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna find more ways to incorporate those beer boars, though. I'll tell you that. As I sit here and build pigs, I'm already anticipating ways that I can put more pigs into my pig list. Well, I mean, so we know that the new Seasons of War book coming out has a character builder, and if it has the same kind of character builder as the old ones, where you could like pick a little, servant beast that kind of is on your hero's stand with them, like that, the beer boar is going to be on everybody's, right? Like for me, if I had to pick, we were talking about this last time I did a live show, my two best friends in the Mortal Realms is the beer boar and the pot grot. Also, Doug, I posted a comment just a tad up about combos of 2 of orc factions. Oh, let's see. Let me see here. I'd like to have the one extra step of the combos of 2. Oh, yeah, like Big Wah, Cruel Boys and Bone Splitters, Savage Ruck. Oh, I see what you're saying, like just combining the various like 2 factions. That would be cool. It would be cool, period. I wonder how much that would bloat the book is my only concern. But, if it's not in the book and it's like, say, in a campaign I'm sorry, hiccup just bit me. Say it's not in the book, the actual battle tome, that is a set of rules that I would love to see like in campaign expansions and that kind of stuff. I think that's where it's perfect. But yeah, I'm here for it. Give me my orc, my Big Wah that leans into sneakiness, and my Big Wah that leans into, by taking the only sneaky factions, some of the Bone Splitters, some of the Cruel Boys, Then you can have the mighty ones where it's Iron Jaws, Bone Splitters, and so on. And then you can have one that's just called GW's favorites, and it's just Cruel Boys and Iron Jaws for no reason. There's no lore reason. It's just it's just called the bestseller list. Give me a hot sec here. I'm going to crack open my window. Speaking of pot grot, I'm over here huffing glue. Okay, important question. Super glue or plastic glue? For me personally, with these guys, as far as what I'm using, I like plastic glue. I find that it really binds things strong. I don't typically use plastic glue, although you just saw me do it, when it comes to putting models on a base, because super glue is nice that you could pop them right off. But yeah. But yes, Betsy, I do like that idea. Now comes for the most aggravating part of this entire model kit, putting cheeks in seats. Because I don't like the way their legs, like their entire leg up to their butt is one solid piece, a left and a right piece. Or sorry, two solid pieces, left and right. Getting those to line up is not always the easiest. Let's just focus on legs for right now. Spetsy, Corn cares a lot about it, at least. Exactly, yeah. I don't care where the blood flows from, but it better not be flowing towards one of my guys, because hell, I'm not going to give them a blessing. But yeah, I mean, I know competitive players don't like it very much when they have like White Dwarf rules, or like this sub allegiance came from a narrative supplement campaign thing. But I think that's where the spice that is Warhammer comes from. But I also understand the headache that it creates for anyone who wants to run an event, so that's just a, you know, issue that comes up from people just wanting different things out of games. You should give one boar a purple mohawk and sunglasses. And like Bebop from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes. I'm not going to do that on these ones because these are my chaff boars, but I will do that for my Maniac Weird Knob Shaman, or whatever his name is. Maniac Shaman. Though there's a shaman who's riding a boar. He's Not quite as cool as the Wergog Prophet in terms of abilities, but he's mobile, which is what he's there for. So he'll kind of be the leader that's up with all the rest of the pigs. So that's a solid idea. I really want a shaman in my Ironjawz, but I don't want to lose the Ironjawz faction. Oh, you mean, well, you have a shaman. You have the Weird Knob shaman. That wouldn't make you lose. Or do you mean specifically the Wergog Prophet? Or the, whatever, Cruel Boy shaman. I forget what he's called. Swamp Caller. Right? Swamp Caller shaman. I'm sorry, I can fully no problem take 6 different races in Cities of Sigmar. Yep. It'll come back around. Don't you worry. I expect Cities of Sigmar to change dramatically whenever they get a new book. That's an opinion. That's not. There's no information behind that. I can't express to you how little I know in general, and also about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Wergog, yeah, I like him more. He is a really good spellcaster. I think he's the best, in my opinion, non-named character shaman, as well as like epic hero. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, yes, a Lord of Change is better, but he's on a very different level and price point than a Wergog Prophet is. So in terms of like being a small foot hero, I think he... Right? What, name a better wizard than that? Like in terms of small on foot ones. I'm trying to think. That's a legitimate question. That's not like a... I dare ya. Trying to see if this goes better. Last time I built the writers completely separate, and yeah, I guess that's still the better way to go. So like I built the legs with the torso and all that kind of stuff, and then some of them just did not want to sit right on the boar. But honestly, I think it's just an old model kit and it just is not lining up quite right. That's my opinion. Derp. Well, I really hope the key to success with Bone Splitters is how much time you spend with a single model's ass, because I'm killing it if that's the case. Okay, well, that's how it's going to be then. So let's pop off the torsos and just get all the body made, and oh, we'll figure it out. Fungoid Cave Shaman. Is he a good one? I mean, I know he's... I can't recall. Chaos Sorcerer. Oh, yeah, that's true. Think about the Wurgog. Two cast, 2 unbinds, and an ability that's a shooting attack within 12 inches that is not actually a shooting attack. It's just an effect that happens. Where he can... I mean, there's stories of him killing Lords of Change. I mean, like, just in terms of what the damage output that a wizard can do. And in addition to buff spells and stuff, I don't know. He's a tough one to beat. He's up there about that. I think we can agree he's at least... He's up there in contention when it comes to best on-foot wizards kind of a deal. Small non-named character. It's a very specific category, but if you're trying to look for the things that Bone Splitters do better than anybody else, you have to get quite specific. That guy you know. Oh, hey, buddy. Thank you so much. Glad to be back on Battleline. Well, I appreciate it, my man. Let me tell you. Let me ask you this. Do you have any questions that you want to ask the group? We can turn that into our topic, as always. If you toss a coin to your YouTuber, you get to decide what we're talking about for a little bit. While I'm waiting on your question, let's see. Did you see the Golden Demon winners? That Tzeentch versus Sisters diorama was epic. No, I haven't really looked. There has been nothing but saltiness surrounding Adepticon. Everything from painting to the competitive side to the preview, and so I have been largely offline. But I will check it out, though. I did see the skink that won. Like this, is it the skink from the Underworlds box? Just like standing up there looking all savage with a little spear. He's cute. I think skinks are an easy one to give to not an easy one to paint, but an easy one to love when you see the model, because like they're just so characterful. Kind of like if a Nurgle player does a really good job with like making the Nurglings pop and seem super mischievous and stuff, that's super fun. It just makes them look interesting. I'm not here for the serious, reboot Gilliman and that kind of stuff, lording over the battlefield looking all epic. I'm here for the goofy, dumb stuff. Been working on a kit bash for Varag Ghoul Chewer. Gave him a boss choppa. Not sure if I should go for a boss brute or a mega boss. that guy, you know, what got you into Savage Orcs? I've been plugging along with my Legion of the First Prince. Let's see. My story with Savage Orcs begins when their battle tome dropped. I think part of it was this real moment in time in Age of Sigmar's history where kind of anything seemed possible. You know, the game launched, people didn't like it, and they kept adding new stuff to it to try and see what would click. And one of the factions they created from that was the Bone Splitters, which they stood out to me because it was a way to play old world models that were easily obtainable because everyone was rage quitting and setting their armies on fire. So it was a very attainable army just because it's limited to a few kits, but they took the time to really flesh it out in terms of what those kits could represent. The original Bone Splitters Battle Tome, I'm going to grab one. If they're like on eBay for $5, if you have even the most passing interest in these models, even if you're not really, like if you're a big wall player, an Ironjawz player, and you're just kind of curious, it's worth a buy. Full of great art, and the way that they pitched Bone Splitters went much deeper than it does in the current Orc War Clans book. In the current one, they kind of just make it seem like, and these are the crazy ones that nobody else wants. And it's like, well, that's kind of true, but their original book painted them as a much more interesting, self-sustaining faction where the beast spirit takes over and they form what is essentially one giant monster together collectively. Rather than just being monster hunters, they become a monster unto themselves and become the alpha predator. And I just thought it was such a cool idea of it's not just about hunting monsters, it's about being the biggest one. And how do you do that? The collective. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. The Wurrgog Prophet, essentially, when they get into their WoG mentality and they're just all running around like a bunch of naked maniacs, it's kind of like a light hive mind. The Wurrgog Prophet's able to just not command them but direct them, and so he directs them into these formations that make them look like they're a giant beast from the sky. It's just like, this is the coolest. That and Flesh Eater Courts, I think, were really important releases, because Flesh Eater Courts was always awesome because of just the internal kit bashing that they did, like to make the various small heroes and stuff like that. I thought that was just, I don't know why they stopped doing that. I think more units would benefit from things like that, but whatever. Sean Williams, personally, I'm glad Skink won. Agreed. Yeah, rather than the big models. Now, from a gameplay perspective, as to why the Bone Splitters are awesome, it's more because they don't have big walls of text or any super devastating hero outside of Kragnos, which is a obviously relatively new thing for them. And it just reminds me of a very simple thing that Warhammer used to be, which is just really cool looking armies just lined up against one another. Games Workshop has definitely gone the route of bigger is better, which I don't always agree with, but obviously there are some really cool big models. But gameplay-wise, they kind of harken back to those original things of what's most important? Movement, placement, capping objectives, that kind of stuff. I love them right until it comes time to put them on their mounts. Give me a sec, I'll be back in the chat in just a minute. Okay, last one, then we can get back to building. I remember when that guy burnt his Dark Elf army. I still cringe at the memory. So much cringiness. Unbridled nerd rage. Never understood it, never here for it. Connor had a great game of Soulblight, Avangori versus Skaven. Oh, that's cool. I never hear about Avangori. That's awesome. A couple weekends ago, sadly the rats buckled beneath the pressure from a Terrorgeist. Nice. So, were you the Skaven player? Or were you the Avangori? Avangori, that's the monster one, right? Where they could have the lady. Oh, what's her name? Lokavai. Did I just make that name up? Is now her name's something like that. But you can't mispronounce it if it's a made-up name. That's what I've decided when it comes to Warhammer stuff. I get corrected in the comments of videos. I'm like, nah. The studio's been working on the Horus Heresy for like 20 years now, and still not everyone agrees on how to say Abaddon or Abaddon. I feel like there's wiggle room. It's like, well, that's what you get for choosing a name that is technically biblical. Daylight Express, my story is starting up a Path to Glory campaign in 2 months. Any input on what faction I should play? I'm open to any. I mean, I don't tell people how to spend money. Is there anything that sounds interesting to you? Like, if you give me a list of ones that you like and want to build models for, I can probably help more. But I'm not just going to be like, go play Stormcast. You didn't hear it from me, but releases have been set in motion that will see any army looking pretty interesting in Path to Glory. If Vince can say Necrons, anything goes. Yep. Truly, this is a lawless and godless place, if he can say that. What was he has another one he does that I always see Tom Twitch, and it makes me happy. I can't remember what it is. Robots. That's what it is, robots. Yes, Necrons and robots. I feel like the Kronspire Incarnate of Gur will be far too enticing for the Bone Splitters. Because they don't just collect bones is the thing. Like, to them, it's not about the bones, it's the beast spirit within them. So if it exudes beast spirit coming out of the bones, which it certainly does, I mean, it's a big old amber rock that's animating bones, I think that they would follow it. Because it's not like, what are they called? Ossiarch Bone Reapers, where the bone is the material that they're after. It's like, no, it's not about the bone. It's about the spirit within. Two I'm kind of torn between right now are Tzeentch Demons and Flesh Eater Courts. Interesting. That's a tough one. Because, like, I'm a sucker for chaos stuff because I love, like, the arc of the path to glory, like when a champion rises and that kind of thing. And being able to tell that story through a path to glory. It sounds really cool, right? Especially because if you start off with, like, a crappy one, you can probably upgrade them to be on a mount and cool stuff like that. But Flesh Eater Courts is also just, it is truly one of the easiest armies to get into, and always has been ever since day one. Ever since the Star Collecting boxes got released, it has been a default good place to get an army. Gotta bounce for a work meeting. Hey, buddy, take it easy. Oh god, last one. This is, to me, the worst part of this is trying to get these torsos and legs onto these boars. And then I basically have to, like, sit and wait for it to dry a little bit and then go back and see, okay, which of you are not really attached, you just kind of are lightly held in place. And then apply more glue and get them down that way. Whew. That new Thondia avatar thing is very Bone Splitters. It's true, yeah. I think it's a shoe-in. I mean, oh, forgive the yawn. Anything that the Bone Splitters think will lead them to a fight, they're gonna follow it. That's their jam. What's that? I can punch someone in the face west of here? Well, I guess we're going west. Let me grab one thing from my closet here. Give me one sec. Okay. So this is super random, but I was sent a order of Savage Orcs, non-IP infringing, from a company called Shield Wolf Miniatures. They sort of do, like, I don't know, generic models, generic fantasy models, but can be used in any kind of game. And they're pretty cool looking. The only thing is the heads don't quite match the Games Workshop heads, but I do have some extras from this kit, so I'm kind of just hoping to see if I can use these as my, what do you call them, the boss on foot. Possibly standard bearer, because that standard looks awesome as hell. It's like a tattered fabric. Okay. Well, ain't nothing for it. Let's jump in and see. They sent these to me because they were doing a Kickstarter to promote the release of all these things, and unfortunately I just did not have time with all the travel I was doing to get the review out there, and so I messaged them back. I was like, hey, I would love to pay for these. I wasn't able to do the thing, And they were pretty cool. There's like, we'll have to relaunch it at some point. It didn't end up getting funded, I think mostly because it wasn't like the best layout for a Kickstarter, but the actual products are insanely cool. You gotta love that about orcs. Why are they here lore-wise? Yes, exactly, yep. Why are we here? Because there's somebody else here who I can punch. Why would I be anywhere else? The guy I want to punch is here. Anything else just seems silly. Okay, got this. Sweet. I assume plastic glue will work on this. Actually, no. Let's find out together. Grimgore to Archeon the Everchosen. Okay, let's grab one of the heads off of here, because I know it comes with extras. Oh yeah, this is gonna look rad. I think that works. Oh well, went too fast. Other side wasn't dry yet. Just got ahead of myself. As is generally my flaw. Okay. Kind of a cool body. Well, that's drying. Let's take a look at this sprue, see if we can find any other cool combinations here. I do wish that there was like two-handed weapons. But it just seems to be, yeah, just paired weapons, which is fine. It's fine. I love that aspect of the works. If something looks like it would be too good of a fight, it's pretty much an invitation. Exactly. Yep. Hello, mate. Nice late video. When do you think you're going to make Malarian's Battle Tome? I have no idea. Tomorrow, if I had anything to say about it, but sadly I do not. I think he looks pretty cool. I don't know how well this is showing up. Let me see. So yeah, I put a bone split his head on this guy, and he looks like he's lunging forward and screaming, which is kind of what I'm going for. Oh yeah, he looks good. And he will look only better when I paint him up. Just doing a quick triple check that that is in fact a 32 mil base, which it is. Okay, now we gotta get the... There we go. We'll just set him up against that to lean over. Boom. He screams, "Wah!" Exactly. Okay, so I am actually gonna use the banner they have for this one because I like it a lot. More so than the far too often repeated totem. I think the best way to replace that though. So it's interesting. So this one, in the so again, this is in case you didn't hear before. This kit is by Shield Wolf Miniatures. It's their version of Savage Orcs. Sort of a cheaper alternate version of them. And their standard bearer, I really like. It's like a rough fabric material. Actually has that all built in there. And but the thing is that the hands are like molded to be like slotted open, so you put the spear into it. It's just a little interesting to try and then figure out how do I put that on somebody, like a basic orc's hand. I guess if I have my what do you call it? Okay, let's try something stupid. We have an extra arm to try something on. I'm gonna grab my handy dandy drill. And let's see if we can drill a hole into the hand that is on here to make it match the banner. So let's see if we can do that. I think we probably need to pop the banner out first, don't we? Okay, so now we have our guesstimated thickness. It's a little too big. We need one slightly smaller than that. And again, this is me just kind of improvising. So if you find yourself saying, "Doug, what are you doing, you foolish fool?" just understand, it's true. I'm a foolish fool. Time flies when you're with the best crew. Oh, thank you so much, Willie. Always a pleasure to hang out with folks. Okay, so we got that done. We're gonna chop. Yeah, we're gonna get right up on this guy's hand. Basically, again, I'm just to reiterate, all I want is the gripping hand on this sucker. We'll see how it goes. This might all end in tragedy, but that's okay. Some things just do. And there it goes. Now it's drilling. Well, you know, believe it or not, my poorly conceived plan may be more complicated than I originally anticipated. Because this is a pain in the finger. I'm going to say finger. Can confirm it's not just the best laid plans of mice and men that go astray, it's also our stupid and impromptu ones. Those are some amazing bone splitter proxies. Well, the pigs aren't, it's just this guy. But I do like the way he came out. Looking through the Shield Wolf miniatures line. Yeah. Apologies, everyone. I know this is not the most exciting viewing. Yeah, I mean, they have a pretty cool line. They also sent me a box of, I don't really know what to call them, Valkyries. Like, it's like female warrior models, and they have the option to put wings on the back. Like, not all, you don't have to put wings on them. It's an optional, I guess, backpack equivalent type deal. But they're pretty cool. They look like they would be stellar for, like, either if you have a custom, you know, army idea you want to do, or, I mean, just D&D models like to have fill out townsfolk and stuff. I think it'd be really cool. Okay. Almost there. It's kind of coming together, he says, with the utmost confidence in himself and his own abilities. Aha! Did it actually work? Hey, it kinda did. He says with less confidence, but more enthusiasm. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just kind of taking in. So, like, because it was a different thickness, like, I do need to bend the thumb in a little bit, it looks like. But overall, it looks pretty good, all things considered. And it maintains the flat portion, so it'll lock into the actual Bone Splitter kit arm pretty well. I'm going to leave it just like that until that arm's in place, just so I'm not trying to bend it later and make it mold if I accidentally angle it the wrong way. So we'll leave that there for right now, but let's get that arm on. Nope, that's the wrong kit. Thanks, Doug. Good job. High fives all around. We're looking for the arm that has no hand. Here we go. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking. Got a mandatory crunk reference. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. But yeah, there's some cool things in the Shield Wolf line. Well, I have to go feed my horde of chickens. Whoa, that came out of nowhere. I love it. Wargamer Willie, let's see. Currently working on a big wall list. Rocking the big stabbas. What a model. Yes, I think the big stabbas are the very definition of big dick energy when it comes to the Warhammer universe. Hand looks a little chopped up right now, but I will fix it. Fix it in post. Okay, perfect. So let's grab... Let's see. I want a more level one. The reason I wanted this banner thing to work so bad, and I apologize if the stream got a little boring as I had to concentrate, but the reason I want the banner to work so bad is because the typical banner that the Bone Splitters have, I think sucks. It's sort of like this giant totem, and it looks awesome if there's just one or two of them, but if every unit in your army has the same thing, it gets a little repetitive, and also they're extremely heavy compared to this. This is like incredibly light by comparison. Because we drilled the hole, opa, we can kind of angle it however we want. But yes, that's essentially the idea. Just wanted to have a unique banner. Something with a little more pizzazz. There we go. I'm just going to hold this for a second. Custodes Dan. I feel like I've heard that name before. Custodes Dan. Love the channel. Thanks for the lore videos. Thank you so much, buddy. Sean Williams, gonna head, play some. Oh, that's awesome. Middle Earth. Glad I was able to catch you live. Thank you, thank you. Freddie Shelley. What is your Bone Splitters list? I will pull that up because it'll give us something to talk about other than... So we're not just sitting here watching glue dry, literally. Let's see. So this... I'm trying to win a specific award. So no shame, I am in fact net listing pretty hard. And I will pull up the list. For thee. So here we are at the shared screen. And this is kind of what I'm starting with. So I don't have to commit to the list yet, which is good. But this is kind of where I'm starting. So let me just put this guy down. I'm going to rig some way for this banner to be supported while I just turn and face the computer so I can actually chat with y'all. Okay, there we go. I had to prop up a glass of water. So I'll explain the list here because I don't think just a list without context is good for anything. So Bone Splitters, that means they have a 6-up Uber ward all the time. Doesn't matter if a hero's nearby, like death stuff. 6-up ward save. Icebone means that whenever they roll a 6 to wound, it does a mortal wound. There's no saving it unless they have a ward save, of course. Also as Bone Splitters, if the unit has 5 or more models, 6s explode. So a 6s become 2 hits. And of all of those wounds of a 6 become mortal wounds. So it's cool dynamics all around there. The Triumph and Grand Strategy, that stuff doesn't matter. I'm gonna practice and figure that stuff out later. The Savage Big Bosses basically act as one giant unit. You need one of them to be your general to get Great Hunter, which allows a pre-game 8-inch move for half of your army. Without that, the Bone Splitters still move 5 inches on their own, but the 8 inches is what makes it super nasty. And so you have 8-inch move. Now the Savage Big Bosses, like I said, all move as sort of one giant unit because they have that rule that we're seeing more and more in small leaders where when one of them finishes attacking, you can pick another Bone Splitters unit within 12 or wholly within 12, and they can attack. However, unlike the Soulblight Gravelords version, there is no end cap and there is no limit on who can do it. And by that I mean, it literally just says Bone Splitters keyword. So if the big boss goes and the Rogue Idol is within 12 inches, the Rogue Idol can go. Or another big boss. And hey, if you have one big boss attack, he lets another big boss attack, that triggers his ability. Again, there's no end cap, so you could daisy chain all, 1, 2, 3, 4 big bosses, and then at the end of that chain have a 5th unit go. provided that they're all within 12 inches. So it's a cool little idea. It just kind of, it's a weird thing because all of those big bosses have to charge separately and technically activate separately. But yeah, below that is the Wurgog Prophet, who is there because he has the eyeball stare power, which is once per game, instead of doing spells, he can stare at a unit and do D3 mortal wounds. From that point on, you can continue to roll a die on I think it's a 3-up. It'll do another D3 mortal wounds, but on a 1 or a 2, the Wurgog Prophet takes D3 wounds. Now the cool thing is, because you're Bone Splitters, you can once per game Bone Split a wall, which means it increases your ward save by 2. So they go from a 6-up to a 4-up. And there is an artifact called Glowing Tattoos, which adds an additional 2 to your ward save, and that one's permanent, always. So the Wurgog Prophet's always walking around with a 4-up ward save, and then the turn he does the big wall, it goes to a 2-up ward save. As far as I know, one of the few ways to get that in the game. If you do that and your stare technique at the same time, you can just keep rolling dice to infinity until whatever unit he's staring at is dead, or your Wurgog Prophet is dead, but again, he has a 2-up ward save against the possible mortal wounds coming back at him. So that's it's the Death Star gun in that guy's eyes. And the Maniac Weirdnob is more or less there. Yes, Daka. It is absolutely still the resin one. Although I'm thinking... So I do have the resin one. I'm going to take him because my buddy Jack painted him. But because I'm always worried about resin breaking, I think in more casual games I might use the Underworld's Warband one. But yes. And the Maniac Weirdnob is really just there to make sure that all of the other boars in the list, because it's so speed-centric, he can keep up with them. He's just there to issue commands, inspiring presence, that kind of stuff. And then for the actual units, 10 Savage Boar Boys, which is the unit of 10 I'm building this exact second. I already have the 2 units of 5 Boar Boys. They become battle line in Icebone, so that's my battle line taken care of. A unit of 10 Savage Boar Boy Maniacs, which is the sort of melee elite version of these guys, and elite's kind of in air quotes there. None of these guys are particularly powerful, but they get just a lot more attacks. So, and below that is 4 Savage Big Stavas and a Rogue Idol. So it's just a lot of attacks. What's cool about the Icebone, the way it's written, is it doesn't just... If you do a wound roll of 6, it's not just 1 mortal wound. It's whatever the damage characteristic of the weapon is becomes mortal wounds. So when you talk about a Rogue Idol having like a 2 wound weapon, it just goes straight to 2 wounds. 2 mortal wounds, rather. So, yeah. Ferretti, love your lore videos. They get me through my GCSE revision. What's that? GCSE. I'm not familiar with that revision. Also, Gordrak is helping me. That's awesome. So anyway, that's how the list works. It is 2 drops, which is crazy awesome. Clocks in at 1950, so you are fishing for that triumph. Ideally, I think you either want to have the +1 to wound or the battle shock immunity for the first round, because that way, even if a monster stomps you, you can still use the triumph. So, yeah. And if anyone has any questions about any of those things, we're more than happy to help. You can see I got my water glass here to prop up the banner. Hey, Uniworks. Look at that. Isn't that banner way the heck cooler than the standard one? Well, I do. That's the thing, is I like the standard one. I just don't like seeing 12 of the same standard one, you know? I like a little bit of variety. It's the spice of life. Okay, so with that done, the only other thing I need to make sure I have is a drummer. So I got here two completely. Starts with drum, our hands for it. So we need the other hand. Perfect. Oh man, what am I at? A little over 2 hours. Yeah, I think I might have to hop off here soon, give my voice a break. But hey, I will say, tune in tomorrow. We're gonna be talking some Idoneth Deepkin lore, and then Maggotkin on Friday, and a special release on Saturday, and the savvy, clever ones can figure out exactly what I'm talking about. But it should be a good time all around. Let's see. Would you... Oh, hello from Utah. What's up? Would you guess that Bone Splitters will get expanded in AOS or phased out? Or are they wanting to do the old world with multi-systems? That's kind of impossible to tell. I have no idea. I mean, I feel like if they wanted to get rid of them, they would have done it with this last battle tome, because then they could have just easily replaced Cruel Boys with them. You know what I mean? In terms of having the two sub factions and big WA structure that they had in the previous book, like it just feels like a really good time to get rid of them if that was what they wanted to do, and they didn't. And so I'm like, I don't know. And then they came out with the Underworld's Warband, which is a fantastic, you know, not reimagining, but an updated version of that same aesthetic. And so I don't think they're necessarily going anywhere. But just because they're not going anywhere doesn't mean they get support. So I don't really know. You know, it's tough to say. You can ask a myriad of factions that feel like they're on life support because they just don't get enough love. English exam system. Oh, okay, cool. Is it for what kind of grade of school is it for? Like, is it like a college dissertation? Is it, we in the States we have like the SATs and the ACTs for high school level stuff? You don't have to answer if you don't want to either. I just have no idea. About what time tomorrow? What time is the video going live tomorrow? So it goes live. I just schedule it for midnight my time. I think it goes live at, it would be 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know. I have no idea what that is for you. Or just in general what that is and why my computer does it, but... did the rest of my actual bone splitter sprues go with all the hits? Ah, there they are. So yeah, Duck, I don't know. I would love to see them expand it. I think there's enough here for it, but I also, you know, whenever they add something new, the inclination, it's hard to fight, is to look at the old stuff and be like, well, how long is that going to be around? You know, just like staring at your liberators as we now have a bunch of just strictly enhanced liberator options in Vindictors and Sequitors and all these, you know, it just makes, even though there's no literal reason to be like, yeah, liberators are getting squatted. There's no reason to think that. But yeah. Okay, we got him done. We got great progress on our custom Banna Boy, who I actually like quite a bit. Sweet. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me while I build these guys. It means a lot to me, and thank you for everyone who threw a coin in the tip jar. I'll be hanging out with you all very soon as we continue to crank out more Boar Boys. The minute these guys are done being built, I'm going to take them outside and prime them, and so hopefully the next time you see them, they will at least be Wraithbone white, and we can get to the task of painting them all up. So I look forward to it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you next time. Happy Wargaming.